Hello guys and welcome to this game review. I am CyborgSpoon and today we'll be reviewing Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, which was made by Platinum Games, who have done games such as Bayonetta and published by Konami. The game is available for the Xbox 360 and the PS3. Should we jump right into it then? I'm going to start, oh by the way, seeing as this is my first video review on my channel, I think I should talk a little bit first about how I'm going to score games. I'm going to score games out of 10. 10 being perfect, 1 being, well, 0, you know, being absolute dog shit. But yeah, so there we go. Let's jump into it. We'll start with gameplay. The gameplay, I'll talk about what the game is. It's hard to describe. It's a hack and slash, but it's more than a hack and slash. It's like it's more in depth than a hack and slash, and I'll explain why as we talk to the gameplay. It's a single player only game. There is no Xbox Live, so if you're looking to play something with your mates, stay away. This is one like all other Metal Gears apart from obviously Metal Gear 4. Yeah, it's a single player only. So let's jump into gameplay. Gameplay is very, very smooth. The transition between fighting large groups of enemies is great. It's excuse me. You have two basic attacks. X, I'm talking about, I played on the Xbox 360 version, so X is your light attack and Y is your heavy attack. Now you can just do these to enemies if you want. They will kill them eventually. There's also blade mode, and what blade mode is quite unique. I haven't seen it in any, or something similar in any other type of game. Blade mode is where if you almost stun an opponent, or you do enough damage to a part of an opponent, or an opponent in general, you'll see like a blue flash on the screen, and this lets you know you can enter blade mode. Now once you enter, you press to enter blade mode, you press the left trigger, and what that does, it almost doesn't freeze time, but you go into slow motion. And from there on you can choose to either use X for a horizontal swipe, Y for a vertical swipe, or you can use the right analog stick and just swipe, you know, you move the stick and it swipes the way you move it. And in blade mode you just chop your enemies into hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces. And yeah, it's a really cool mechanic. It works really well. It's not overpowered because you can't just go into blade mode and hit the enemy. You have to damage them to a certain point first, or at least you do some of the stronger enemies, the absolute, you know, like the pawns. You can go into blade mode and kill them pretty much straight away, almost. Another cool feature is what's called a Zandatsu, and a Zandatsu is each enemy will have a location which is shown to you by a red box. And that location, if you slice through it in blade mode, you basically grab their spine, you pull it out and you crush it, and when you do that you refill your health and your fuel cells. Your fuel cells is what is needed to use blade mode. You don't have infinite blade mode, you have to use these fuel cells. It's like an energy meter, shall we say, like a mana, if you want to compare it to something. So if you do one of these Zandatsus by slicing an enemy in a certain location, you can press B, you'll perform the Zandatsu, which is crushing the enemy's spine, and you absorb their energy, basically get full health and full fuel cells, which is another really good mechanic, and it keeps the flow of the gameplay consistent, very fast, because you can run into an enemy, you kill them, you damage lots, you do a Zandatsu when you're running low on stuff, so you can go back into blade mode and kill even more. It works really, really well. There's a few sequences of the game where oh, cough. There's a few sequences in the game where you'll damage an enemy a certain amount, and then you've got a few button combinations to hit. Like they'll try and hit you, so you press Y to dodge it, and then you'll have to hammer X and stuff to hit them and whatever. These work really well. It's not so common, which is good, because otherwise the game becomes less sort of skill orientated and more just about tapping random buttons as much as you can. They implemented them really well, and it makes it a bit more complicated than, let's say, like a Dynasty Warriors game, which is another hack and slash where you can just run around and slash the shit out of everything with 2 buttons. This game not so much, and especially if you up the difficulty. So in my opinion, the gameplay very fast, very smooth, and You know, you can get by on the easier difficulties not knowing that much, but if you want to master the game, you know, you got to put some time in to learn the ins and outs of parrying and all sorts of other stuff. I'm going to talk about parrying actually. Parrying is a mechanic where there's no block button in this game, and there's no dodge button in this game. What you do to you parry attacks, and what parrying is an enemy will glow red or like flash red out of their eyes when they're about to do an attack that is parryable. They can glow yellow if it's not parryable. So when they glow red and they attack, what you need to do is you press X, or you lean the left stick slightly towards your enemy, and press X, and that will basically put your blade up and you parry the attack, and from there you can counter attack, which does more damage, and so on and so forth. I personally found this mechanic to be a bit inconsistent, because sometimes like you'd move the stick and press X and you just run towards the enemy and get hit, or you do an attack yourself, because as you know, as I said earlier, X is the same button, X is light attack as well. So in my opinion, parry could have been moved to a different button altogether, because I found it just a wee bit inconsistent personally. Let's talk about the graphics. Graphics in the game are really good. They're by no means absolutely amazing, but they are really good. The cutscenes especially, actually, the cutscenes are of a good standard. The gameplay, obviously, never going to be as good as a cutscene, but it's still, you know, you can tell it's a new game. It looks really nice. The locations look really good. You're fighting, and the locations look really good. You're fighting, and the actual combat itself looks good. Like a lot of the battle sequences and the moves, they look really good, really well choreographed. Talk about the story. As you know, Metal Gear games are pretty heavy on story. If you've played any of the previous this series, like the Metal Gear Solid games, you'll know it's really heavy on story, heavy on cutscenes. This game, there is still a story, but it is, you know, the game is very story driven, but it doesn't, you know, you can go by without it. It's not huge, the story, but it's, for a Metal Gear fan especially, it's a really interesting look on the main character Raiden, and it's really well done. I think really well done. The game also stays true to its, not its roots so much, because the game is very different to the old Metal Gears, but you know, it has references to the old Metal Gears which are very nice and very like nostalgic, and it's what a Metal Gear fan would really enjoy when playing. I think they'll enjoy that a little bit more. It's got some really nice touches to it, but the story's done really well. The cutscenes, again, if you've ever played a Metal Gear game, they have huge cutscenes. Cutscenes aren't so long compared to those, but there are, like, you know, you've got your 10-15 minute cutscenes in certain parts of the game, which are pretty long, but they're all very good. They're not really boring. They're interesting cutscenes, and it doesn't feel that long when you're watching. Like for your first time, you're very involved with it. So what the characters? Obviously, you got Raiden, the main character. I really like what they've done with Raiden in this game. They've continued from his Metal Gear Solid 4 like form. The game takes place after Metal Gear Solid 4, and everyone loved him. He got really good reception from Metal Gear Solid 4, and they've made him even better. He's like the ultimate pro badass guy in this game. I don't know anybody that won't enjoy playing with him. He's a really cool character, really well developed. They bring a lot of backstory about him during the game, and you get very attached. I think you get not attached, but you're really interested in what happens to Raiden and how he develops throughout the game. Every boss battle, each boss, should I say, the bosses are done really well. I'd say apart from the first one, they all have a little bit of story, some more than others. Like the first two bosses, Mistral and Monsoon. Mistral especially not that much. Monsoon, he plays a big part in Raiden's story. Not so much in the past, but like developing him during the game. And then you've got the two other main guys, who's Sundowner and Sam. And I'll go into the final boss a little later, but Sam is a great character. They've made him a really good character. You develop a really strong rivalry with Raiden right from the beginning of the game, and it carries out right towards the end where they have a really epic battle. Spoiler alert. I should have said spoiler before that. Oh well. Yeah, so Sam's done really well. Sundowner's like, he looks like they make him out to be the big boss of things, and then there are some twists and stuff. And, you know, they made the character, each character in this game, bosses as well. They're all very good, and they all play their own part in the game. There's no main character that like lags behind. You're just like, I don't give a shit about this character. You're interested in what all of them have to say, and they are all needed in the story. There are games where you can go, you know, this guy didn't even need to be in the game. But there's no annoying characters. There's no bad characters. They're all very good characters, and I'm really pleased with what they did with it, especially Raiden and Sam. I think they're the two standout characters from the game. They're really, really solid. Soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack to this game was phenomenal. I've been playing games since I was about 4 or 5 years old, and I am now almost 20. Metal Gear Solid Rising is the first game I've ever actually gone and looked up the soundtrack on YouTube to listen to. It is really, really good. It really helps involve you in the battles, and some of the songs that come on during certain battles just, you know, it makes it so much more intense. You get your adrenaline pumping. You just get so into it, and the music really helps. The soundtrack is great for this game. Some great songs and a great mixture of like types of songs as well. You've got your sort of rocky songs, you've got your dubstep, and then you've just got like your sort of average orchestral thing playing like random points in the game, and it's all put together really well, and you can just tell that a lot of thought went into the soundtrack and where each song went into to help progress the game, and it worked really, really, really well. Now, does this game have any replayability value? In my opinion, it has loads. And I'll tell you why. It has loads of replayability value because, for a start, multiple collectibles. You've got men in cardboard boxes. There are 5 in the game, where there's an officer hiding in a cardboard box. You've got to go find him and hit him out of it. This is like a little homage to Metal Gear Solid, the series, like how you're Solid Snake and you hide in boxes. Nice little like Easter egg almost there. Yeah, so you've got 5 of those to collect. You've got little data storage units. I think there's 20 or 30. So they're just little like your average collectible. You've got to go and find 20 odd so of them. Then you've got VR missions. Now, in some of the other Metal Gear games, you had VR missions you could just play, and you had to beat others to unlock. This game, you've actually got to find them scattered throughout the levels, which is cool. Gets you playing them more. You don't go out and find them. Now, the coolest collectible, in my opinion, in this game is the ID chips. Now, what these are, certain characters throughout the game have an ID chip in their left arm, and you have to use blade mode to cut that left arm off to collect it. Now, the way you do this, you use a mode called AR mode, which is you can scan the whole area and it shows you the enemies, and the enemies with these ID chips in their left arms will be flashing. So then when you go over to them and use blade mode, their left arm will be like blue, and you like a light blue, like a turquoise, and you can cut the arm off. And if you cut it right, you pick the ID chip up, and then you use it. Not use it, you collect it. That gets you and getting more collectibles in the game unlocks you more customization things. And I'll go to customization now. They've got a lot of customization in the game. You've got multiple weapons, multiple skills you can purchase, multiple costumes for riding, body parts as well as wigs, and certain body things. If you say you've got DLCs in the game, like there's a white one you got with a legendary edition that lets you hold more health packs. There's a red one which I believe gave you more ammo for your secondary weapons like rocket launchers. Then there's wigs which give you more ammo as well for secondary weapons, or there's a wig that gives you infinite blade mode. And to get these things, you have to go around collecting these collectibles. So another reason you've got a lot of replayability. Another reason to go back and play the game again. Difficulties. There's 5 difficulties in the game: easy, normal, hard, very hard, and Revengeance. And let me tell you, I completed the game on hard, thought I was pretty good. I've gone back and tried to play on very hard. I can't do the first fight in the first level. So there is a huge spike in difference. That's when it's very hard. I haven't even touched Revengeance difficulty yet. So there's plenty of reason to go back and just practice and play and try and beat the game on every difficulty. And that leads me to achievements. Achievements bring a lot of replayability to this game for those achievement hunters out there. This game is going to be one hard game to complete, because there's one in particular I'm thinking of. Is you have to get an S rank, which is basically you get ranked on every little combat element of the game, and then at the end of every level you get a rank, and you have to finish the game with S, which is the best rank on every level in Revengeance difficulty, which is going to be insanely hard, and I don't know how anyone's going to do it. But so there's a lot of achievements like collecting all the collectibles, unlocking all customization options, collecting or like killing enemies in a certain way. Those things will keep you playing the game and make you want to play over and over. So yeah, guys, all in all, I'll go over a few bad points about this game. I noticed a few bugs. One, like where I sort of glitched out in a running scene, and I was just running up the sky, where I should have been running up a building, disappeared. It was just sky. I was just running up sky, and I had to restart my game. A bit annoyed. I had to go back a checkpoint or so. And another one I found where sometimes you're in blade mode and you'll cut something, and the thing dies, but the cut animation doesn't actually happen, which is kind of annoying, but it's no biggie. And the last bad thing, camera. The camera can sometimes be very frustrating and sort of just ping around and face you, so you lose track of where your enemy's gone. That was my biggest gripe with the game, to be honest. The camera was a bit annoying. But apart from that, overall, I thought this game was fantastic. And I'm going to give it a rating. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Were it not for the camera issues and the few little bugs that I found, this game would be a solid in the 9s somewhere, because I really do believe it's that good. A lot of replayability, good story, good characters, good graphics, good soundtrack, great gameplay. You can't ask for much more, to be honest, from a game. You know, Metal Gear games always deliver. They're always fantastic, and Metal Gear Rising Revengeance is no different. Great game. Strongly recommend everyone go out and buy it, guys. But yeah, that is my review. I've been CyborgSpoon. If you like this review, please leave a like, a comment, and be sure to subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next video. See ya.
Now, keep heading for refinery. They have erected an electromagnetic barricade, maybe expecting UG or cyborg attack.